Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Pumped to have you guys here. So this is the video series all about SWITCHO flight deck and integrating everything with a SLAVX avionics panel. So what we're talking about here in this second video of our three-part series is all about the flight deck. And so we've got Oscar here from Spain. He's going to talk about it. We're going to actually unbox the flight deck and some of the components as well. And then he's got to catch a flight. So I'm going to end up doing a lot of the assembly here. But we're going to just talk a little bit about what flight deck is and how it fits into the total piece of the puzzle. You can also see these brand new packaging here from Virtual Fly on their components. This is their Yoko Plus product. Brand new packaging, looks really, really sharp, and you can actually see here, this is the Ruddo packaging. If you move the F3, you can see the brand new Ruddo box too, and the Vernio throttle box. So we've got some awesome retail packaging that is starting to hit shelves, and hopefully starting to hit some shelves here in America too. So we'll go ahead, we'll get into it, and let's get started.
Super excited to be here with the flight deck. We have the boxes that come to assemble the flight deck. It's very easy. It's kind of an IKEA way to do it. So you just open the flight deck boxes. There's instructions inside, and you go ahead. It takes kind of between 1.5 to 3 hours, depending how fast you are. The same happens with IKEA tables and desks, right?
I mean, I guess how many hands you have too, right?
Exactly.
So you get 2 people, 2 man hours. It's probably a little easier. I mean, what would you recommend? Would you recommend having a couple people? Stuff in here, heavy, I mean, not heavy.
If you're in a hurry to put it all together, I recommend 2 people. Yeah. But 1 people is more than enough to do it. Okay. There's also some of the big things that already come assembled. Let's say, so it's very, very easy.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, where does the flight deck come from? Flight deck, of course, is the structure that is going to hold everything that the pilot is going to use. That's the flight controls, the flight panel, the seat, the rudder pedals, the computer, the screen. Everything is supported with the flight deck. Okay, it all comes from our certified product, which is a Solo Pro. Our Solo Pros use the flight deck, so everything that is in the Solo Pros is in the flight deck. The seat is made by us, very nice aeronautical seat. Then you have a nice metallic base, and then you just build it from the bottom all the way up. You have a VESA support as well for the screens and everything, and it's a very nice product if you want a kind of unique turnkey solution. So if you want to have your kind of flight simulation cave and you want everything on one base, and you can even move it around if you want, flight deck is the best solution. Okay, very sturdy, very robust, has everything in Virtual Fly, metallic, and let's just open up, see what we have inside, and then of course you'll have to assemble it alone because I'm catching a flight in the next hour.
Okay, alright, okay, so we'll do that. So let's take this one off here. So here we're just going to open up box 1. You know what else is pretty unique here are the wheels that Virtual Fly we've got here. So this is an add-on to the flight deck. And these are some great orange wheels with locking casters to be able to move the flight deck around as well. And that's my finger in between a knife. Okay. What were you saying?
That's what angle of attack has.
Yeah, they have the same wheels. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so this is cool. More labeled boxes. FD7. Screws contains instructions, screws, and tools. Here's FD4. So really, really nice labeling there.
And you see this is the base.
Got this.
Can I get this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so
just grab that guy in there.
If you see, this is the base that actually comes pre-assembled.
Yeah, this is really nice.
Of course, assembling this would be more complicated. So this would be the base. If you lift it up, you see here the Virtual Fly logo, and there is where the rudder pedals are going to have. So this is the base, okay? The rudder pedals are going to be here. So the person is going to be sitting here, so here's where the actual rails for the seat are, and then it all comes up to the flight deck.
Okay. And here we go.
flight deck is
There.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Just set them right here. Wow. Wow. This is sweet. Look at this. So this is the whole base then. Yeah, we're gonna build up from that.
Yeah, and then there's another box that is behind here that is with the chair.
Yeah.
And then the other boxes, FD2, FD3, they just come, they just get it, have everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is nice. I mean, it's the fit and finish is just. Yeah, this thing is really high quality.
Yeah. And you can see it says Cessna here.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's for, to move the rudder pillars for every type of, you know, pilot. And here would be like the Cessna type place where it should go for the Solo Pro, for the certified flight simulator.
Wow. All right, so yeah, flight deck. We're carrying flight deck, and then we're going to have a stay level avionics panel that then will be integrated with everything that has to be in part 3. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get Oscar to the airport. I'm going to get to work on putting together the flight deck, and we're going to assemble the flight deck, and hopefully kind of follow along on me as we assemble it. We'll probably speed up some of the scenes a little bit, the cut scenes, and then we'll have an assembled flight deck, and then the last part that's all going to tie it together is going to be the panel. So sweet, let's go. Safe flight, brother.
Amigo.
Go. Thanks. All right, so we got Oscar over to the airport. He is on the way back to Barcelona, and here we have got the FD2 box. This is the third main box in the FD shipment. FD stands for flight deck, and that's the name of the product from Virtual Fly. It's the Virtual Fly flight deck. So as you remember, this here, this base portion, this is the FD1, and it really comes pre-assembled. The only thing we did is we actually added some orange wheels to it with locking casters to be able to give a little bit more mobility on the flight deck. We're going to actually check that out, test out those casters when we're actually sitting in the flight deck and using it. If we get too much movement, we'll probably go back to more of the stable solution, but the wheel seems like a pretty good idea. So once again, that's the FD1. In terms of the FD2, this is the second box. This is I would say pretty much one of the largest boxes of the shipment. And then there's the FD3 box as well, which includes a lot of the monitor support stuff. We've got our instruction manual here. We're going to just crack open the FD2 box. Okay, so we got that FD2 all unboxed, and as you can see here, these are all of the boxes and the components that go with the flight deck. I want to give a quick overview of the different boxes so everybody remembers. We have the FD1. That comes pre-assembled. This is the entire base. That also includes 3 more boxes. Those 3 boxes are the FD4, the FD7, and it also included some additional contents box that have, it looks like, some instructions, screws, and tools. So that's the FD1. The FD2 included the FD5 box, the FD6 box, as well as the seat to the overall flight deck. And then last but not least is the FD3 box, and I believe this includes quite a bit of the monitor support systems and things like that. So 3 main boxes, and then inside of there you've got a lot of partial boxes. Okay, so inside of the FD7 is actually a tablet mounting system, which we're going to actually not use. And the reason why is because we already have the RAM mount installed into our SLAVX tabletop avionics panel. So we're going to actually use the FD7. Okay, so in box FD5 is actually the keyboard mounting tray. So that actually mounts on the right or left side of the flight deck. And it's got an articulating swinging arm here, which is really nice. So you can use a wireless keyboard for that. Here we've got the FD6. Looks like it's part of the different arms and things. Okay, so inside of the FD4, really nice foot kind of rest here. So that'll actually go right inside where you sit. Looks really nice. This here is actually for the Instructor Station, is what this is for. Now our specific setup, since we're using it in the home, that's not an advanced aviation training device or even a basic aviation training device. It may be in the future. We may actually get this certified, working with our local FAA FSDO, that's the Field Service District Office, FSDO, Field Service District Office. And that's who you work with really one-on-one to demonstrate that the simulator can do all of the things to make it a BATD and be able to log some time. In AATD, you can log a lot more time towards different ratings as well. But this here is for the instructor station, so it actually sits. Let's see here. If this is the rudder pedals, this is the seat. It actually will end up kind of sitting over here to the right-hand side is where that sits. So that's what that is for. Okay, so these are the poles for the instructor station, and they've got an additional support, so it basically bolts to the flight deck like this here on the side, and you want to be able to get the correct, I would say, kind of angle here. This one's an interesting one to tighten. You want to get the right bolts, and you want to make sure the bolts are very square because the bolt holes are very close to this pipe. So you need to kind of either have a ratcheting, I would say, wrench, or you really need to have an Allen key. Just take it out, you redo it each time. It can take a while, so my point is don't rush it, don't cross thread it, do a good job with it. But here, the second additional pole right here, so as it sticks out from the flight deck, you can actually see here that, I can't get that off, it's tied pretty good. Here, I'll just take it off real quick, why not? Back here. There's an additional little support pole. Here we go, right here. Alright, so it's into the flight deck like this, and this support pole actually sits right here like that, and that prevents it from flexing a lot. So that's just really nice like that. And then the instructor station for the laptop just bolts right to the top like so, basically like that. So that's the instructor station, how to put the instructor station together. And this chair, I don't know how to explain it, but this chair is just really awesome. It's just really stiff and nice, and it just looks great. All right, so this here, if I remember, is one of the front or back covers to really kind of just completely finishing up the total look and feel to everything. So that is pretty much everything unboxed. We've got some screws. Let's actually crack that open. Why not? We're here. As they say, one in Rome, maybe one day, one in Barcelona. Okay. That's Barcelona's where Virtual Fly is headquartered, by the way. Okay, so wow, a lot of screws here, labeled. They're labeled really, really nicely. That's really awesome. Got some Allen keys, spanner wrench. We've got some cables here, not cables, but they're basically not rope. They're like straps with a locking mechanism here. If you ever tied down a boat, the back straps in a boat, you got this locking mechanism. Anyways, they're not ratcheting, but they got some straps here. Label them too. That's to hold the desktop computer. Okay, so the desktop computer, there's an entire support system that's going to go here, and then you can have a desktop computer right here if you want. We've got some more hardware labeled really, really nicely. So, love the labeling, assembly instructions. So we got our instructions here, and pretty clever little things. They do have the box identification, FD1, FD2, what's inside of each one. So that's actually pretty slick, what I just walked through there. Really nice assembly instructions. It talks about little things like do not tighten yet. Now you must tighten all the screws. So sometimes as you get assembling these things, you want to tighten everything down, and then you're like, oh, I got to loosen it back up to fit something else, and then retighten it. So, I mean, just really nice instructions here. Very easy to follow along, and looks pretty simple. So what we're going to do, we're going to put on these side supports first. And these just attach with 5 screws from bag B. Bag B, simple as that. And once again, they give you all these really nice gill cut Allen keys here. These just look really, really nice. And they're all labeled. So this is a 5mm head here, for example. I'll go ahead and I'll start to put that in. Okay, so these are the Ruddo rudder pedals. They come mounted to the Ruddo base plate as well if you're to use these in your home. And we're going to actually dismount the Ruddo pedals from the base plate. And so we've done that, and you're left with 4 screws, 4 washers, and 4 nuts. And what's going to happen is there are these standoffs here on the rudder pedal mounting system here that the Ruddo will affix to. Now, one recommendation that I would make is to just loosen up the outside bolts here, and really just loosen up those nuts is all you need to do. Just a very small quarter turn. You're actually not fully loosening them up to disassemble it. You're just loosening it up to give it enough motion to be able to move back and forth. And that's going to allow to lining up here on this really nice Cessna line to make sure that the rudder pedals are both very straight. And so you can go ahead and put that right in there, and then from there able to line up the pedals. After that is lined up like that, you just simply put on the washer, put on your nut, and I'd also recommend just tightening down those outside nuts. Now if you have a ratchet instead of an open-ended wrench, you could use a 10 millimeter socket. Would make that really, really quick for assembly instead of an open-ended wrench. So grab 10 millimeter socket. Once again, you're only doing a quick quarter turn, so it shouldn't require a lot to tighten it down. And then there, that side is tightened down. Bring in the adjustment, and you can tighten down the other side. Fairly simple. So there, the Ruddo pedals are done. All 4 bolts to secure the Ruddo rudder pedals. And move on to the next one. Okay, so putting that next side panel on here. Once again, there's 5. I kind of like to wiggle the things as I put them on, just to make sure that I'm not cross-threading any screws or anything. Get them really nice. Start with the middle, and then move to the outside. Move to the other outside here. And the last 2. It's really important you don't want to cross-thread any screws on any of this. And the last one right there. Okay, and both Cessnas should be reading this way. Okay, so next we're going to move into the support system here, which there is a arm here. These actually secure with bag number F. F as in Foxtrot. There's 4 bolts that these affix to. So these are quite fixed, and going to use number F to secure these. And so we'll go ahead, we'll do all 4 of those. In terms of this support here, this uses actually bag M1. Okay, M1, I guess, not related to the Apple new processors, but it uses bag M1, which is here, and they're a really nice thumb screw. And the point of that is there's adjustability here. This is fixed, this part is adjustable. And so if we take the M1 here, and we'll go ahead, and we can put that in, just like so. Then there is adjustability here on these sides. And we'll go ahead and put those in. Just like that. And the reason there's adjustability on those sides is because there's, once again, the Cessna labeling here on the side. And that Cessna labeling corresponds to the height of the seat relation to the height of the panel. So all of that kind of goes together. So I really recommend doing these things kind of a little bit at a time. Don't want to do too much at a time because then you can start to cross-thread some things. Everything should go on pretty easy and straightforward. Just like so. Cool. Right. So now if we look at the instructions, there are racks. That is the next process. So we have G from the FD4. So here is one of the racks. This is going to be what's going to actually hold the computer together. And pay attention because these 2 slots are supposed to go towards the forward portion of it. We'll tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Looks like those holes line up really nice. And they use 2 of screws. G as in golf. So you get bag, G as in golf, slice and dice, take your 5mm. Okay, so G is done now. Okay, so now we're going to assemble the seat onto the flight deck. It goes here on the back. There's 4 holes that it goes into, and they use screws H. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do that right now. Okay, so we got the seat here. These use screws, or the bolts H. Just put them in here just to start a very little bit. And then we can actually use the seat rails to move it back and center it. Okay, so now we can bring it back just a little bit. Kind of center everything up. We're just going to tighten these down. Okay, so looking at the front of the flight deck, we've got the front cover, and then we've also got this front drawer. And this front drawer just goes in pretty straightforward, pretty simple, just like so. And it provides an area to hold some cables. And then this protects the front of the rudder pedals. So really straightforward. The actual desktop PC can sit there if you had a desktop, but in this instance we don't. Because we're going to be using a laptop, and then you would secure it with the M2. Once again, not the Apple M2 processor, but with bag M2 for the straps. And that's once again step 6. So pretty straightforward there. And then it's mounting the actual cockpit, which we're going to get into segment 3. Now there is a section here around the monitor mounts. And so the monitor mounts here are kind of the next thing to talk about. So this here is the FD3. So the FD3 section with the monitor mounts, we're going to actually put this flight deck, we're going to lower it down onto the ground, and then we're going to start to put the monitor mounts, which is box FD3, onto it. The FD3 can support 3 32-inch televisions, which is really unique. We're going to actually end up just using one 34-inch ultra or 38-inch ultra-wide monitor. That's what we're going to use. Maybe we'll upgrade to multiple screens in the future, but I just wanted to go kind of for simplicity's sake here. And so we're going to start that process. Okay, so we have everything for the FD3. As you can see here, the seat moves back really nice, just like that. We also got tilt, so if you want to tilt back, you can do that too. So that's really nice, really slick. I tell you, I said it on Chris Palmer's Solo Pro G1 when we did his Alaska video, but right here, this lumbar support is just really, really nice. It's hard. It doesn't look like there's just a ton of support there, but it's just really supportive, and I feel like I could just sit at this thing all day long. So really, really nice from that perspective. So once again, these are all adjustable, and you'll see when the actual panel comes on. So these move up, okay, just like this. We're going to install the monitors in there, and boom, we pulled the yoke right there. Monitor's going to be right there. This is going to come along together pretty nice. So this is exciting. This is sweet. Okay, so I want to talk about the components that we have here with the monitor system. This is everything out of the FD3 box. This enables us to run 3 32-inch monitors or 32-inch televisions. There is an additional upgrade system for the flight deck that you can run up to 5 32-inch screens. So you can do that as well. That gives you a little bit more kind of, I would say, 180-degree full surround versus more like a, I'd say about 150, 160 degree, kind of if you wanted to use 3 monitors. Now, what we're going to use just one monitor directly in front. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. The reason that I only wanted to use one monitor is, as you can see here in the SLAVX studio, we are a little bit limited for space. Don't have a ton of space. Those additional 2 monitors on the outside really add a lot of width to the overall flight deck. So I think with this one 38-inch, I think it's going to be just about perfect, but we'll see how it all comes together. So you've got some black side supports here. We're actually going to show putting all those on, but those basically just connect right to here. Pretty straightforward, and so we'll show those. Those are the side supports. These stainless poles then go inside of these black supports, and that is where a couple of bolts go. Now it's really, really important, if this flight deck is getting shipped at all, anywhere, these bolts have to stay in the flight deck for shipping. Sometimes it's easy to want to take these bolts out, bring this pole down, and bring the height of it down for any type of shipping purposes. The problem with that is anybody, any shipping company, freight, whatever, they're going to stack stuff on top of the simulator. It doesn't matter how many do not stack pictures, placards, labels you put on it, it will get stacked somewhere in the mix. Something will get stacked on it, which means this pipe right here, the stainless pipe, it goes freely right now, really smooth. What will happen is any type of weight on that with compression from distribution and logistics, it's going to ram this all the way down and all the way in. And this thing is not going to come apart, and you're not going to actually be able to lift that up and bring it to that original height as you thought, unless you have these screws in it. So make sure, do not ship it compressed at all. That's a big no-no. Anyways, these go on like that, pretty straightforward. Then there are what I'm going to refer to as here, as there's a few different kind of brackets. And the different types of brackets that there are basically, you have your main bracket, and this is all we're going to use for our flight deck. Once again, one monitor. There are the additional, what I call them the wings, but the additional wings that go like this. There's one wing that goes here. The other wing obviously goes on the other side. Pretty straightforward. They just connect all the hardware, everything's right there. So you have the wings if you'd like to use the wings. And then in terms of the monitors, you have these back plates. They have a lot of different VESA cutouts. So the support for TVs, monitors, everything. There's a ton of different monitors. I just got a little M4 VESA kit on Amazon to be able to screw these in. I think we're going to end up using a VESA 100 by 100 for the monitor. And the monitor even has screws built into the VESA mounts. But what happens, you can see this profile right here. This profile fits directly right onto this cross beam right here, this cross member. And you can see it can now rotate very freely, just like that. So adjusting is very simple, very straightforward. And then there's some additional screws right here that actually go in these two holes. And what that does is it prevents it from being able to be lifted off and could fall off. So that's kind of how it secures just overall right into there. So pretty straightforward. And that's all we're going to use. We're going to just end up using that one for the one monitor that we have. And it should hopefully cover this entire, not beam, but this entire cross section is what it should hopefully cover there. So we'll see. Hopefully this cross section isn't larger than the actual width of the monitor. So we'll get the monitor out here and everything. If it is, we could always lop off the ends of this, but then we lose the compatibility to hook up the wings on the ends if we ever want to use that in the future. So I don't know, we'll see. That'll be a game time decision here as we continue to assemble it. So we're going to get the instructions out and get assembling the actual monitor support system that will be adhered here to the flight deck. Okay, so the first step here in the monitor arms is you have this bag, which is letter L as in Lima. You've got 4 plastic brackets, and then you've got the screws that go with it as well. And so these are the brackets that are going to actually slip over the stainless pole here and allow it to slide up and down. So that is what those are there for. Those actually go right onto the back of this main middle piece here. And so if we look at the instructions, it looks like they can go to the out or the in. Just trying to see if there's a top or a bottom to this. It doesn't look like there is a top or bottom to it. So I'm going to put it with the nut on the inside of it. And we're going to do that. And then in terms of this bracket, I'm going to guess that these with this knurling here on is going to be the top of it. So it looks like there's some places for some cable zip ties and things like that, unless those cable zip ties, you know what? I think actually it's going to go, these are going to go down because you could run zip ties through there for the cables because the cable connections for a TV or monitor would probably be here. So I'm going to actually think those are going to go down is what we're going to do. So anyhow, the reason that I picked that this way with the nut on the inside is because on the outside we can make those adjustments for with the Allen key if we need to adjust it all. So you just put it on here. So there's one. We take the L hardware and we will go ahead, take our 5mm and put those right in like so. Once again, do not cross thread to avoid cross threading anything. So far we haven't cross threaded anything, so that's been great. And the bottoms, they have a little, I'm going to call it just kind of, that sticks out here. And that actually goes right like so, right there. And they actually thread in to a threaded side there. So we go to J, 4 total, 2 per side. It's going to be the 5mm again. Those both went in really easy. Okay, so next we need to put the stainless supports in. So we'll go ahead and just slide those in for now. We'll take the 4 bolts. Slide it through. Okay, now how I did that is I did bolts in from the outside. And the reason I did that is because if anybody's walking back behind the flight deck, I don't want anybody to catch themselves either on their shirt, the shorts, anything, and kind of cut them up. So if I have just a little bit of extra left. So bolts there, it's going to be washer and then locking nut. So we're going to go ahead and put all those on now. Okay, so we didn't want to go too tight with those. So those are all done. So now we're going to take this main monitor arm and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it on the 2 posts, so support posts there, and we're going to take our 5mm Allen key to be able to tighten those down, just like that. Tighten these down now. We left those just a little bit loose at the beginning. Tighten those down now. Nice there. Eliminates any kind of wiggle that was there. I talked about how there's these 2 holes here, and to prevent anything from getting lost, what you do, put a little zip tie right under those after you put it on. Okay, so this is a 38 ultra wide here. You get these at Costco, $3.99, $4.99, something like that. But basically, you take this, toss it in over here, and it's going to end up going right here like so. And it's going to mount right to the mount like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that on. I may do it on my desk over here. Might be a good place for that. Okay, so these M4 screws now are totally secured and on there. And now we can just go ahead. Let me just put it right on here like so. Be careful to not drop your monitor going underneath. And see, it takes it down just like so. So if I'm sitting there, do I see the ends of the FD3 system? I don't see it that way. And I don't see it that way. Oh, perfect. So a 38 is just about the primo perfect size. This is great. These wheels, this is fantastic. I just wheel it around. Okay, but seriously, this 38 is a really nice size. It covers the ends of the mounting system, and it keeps the entire profile really narrow. It actually keeps everything really right in alignment. So I highly recommend the 38. They also make, I think, a 40-inch version of this. The 34 might be a little bit too narrow. I don't know. I don't have a 34, but that's another common size. So that's pretty much everything. We just adjust the height. So once again, seat is stationary, no height adjustment. Height adjustment is here for your panel, which is going to be your yoke, throttle, all that built in. That's going to be part 3 of this series, is really tying everything together with the state level avionics panel, how all the virtual flight components come together as one. We're going to be talking about modular plates, G1000 versus their brand new EFOS and radios. So that is going to be absolutely awesome support there. And then once again, the height adjustment is right there as well for the monitor. So this is all coming together really well. The flight deck is finally assembled here, and now we're going to set it up. We're going to do some wiring, give it some power, and we'll keep going. So we'll see you in part 3. Stay level.